This
late
conference will
2018.
now be recorded.
It came somewhere around late 2018, and I was one of the first in my organization to adopt this technology and migrate all. I mean, as part of adopting this one, we started migrating all the existing InfoPath forms and MS forms to Power Apps. So before Power Apps came into picture, if you have worked, if someone has worked or someone has heard of InfoPath, that used to be the go-to tool for creating forms quickly for the business. Or MS Forms later. I mean, MS Forms came later into the picture. But since the arrival of Power Apps, I mean, things got a lot. I mean, a lot easier. We'll try to keep this an interactive class, so try to participate as much as possible. This is not a one-way training session where I mean I'll just go on with my lectures and then we'll drop off or in the meeting. So if I mean, feel free to stop me and feel free to ask questions if you have any. Also, if you have any kind of fear in your mind, please take it out. There is no prerequisite for learning this. Absolutely nothing is required from your end. No scripting knowledge or no even HTML or JavaScript. Anything is not needed. You can start from a scratch, and if you have a clean slate, that would be very good. Um, I'll try to cover things here which is more relevant. Like I have conducted training sessions for other institutes as well, so I have seen the curriculum, but in here will be covering only topics which are more relevant. Um, Let me give you an example quickly. So just raise your hand. How many of you know driving here? Four-wheeler I'm talking about. How many of you know four-wheeler driving here? Okay, that's good. Madhav has raised his hand, and I believe Prashant Balaji. Okay, good to hear that. And I'm glad I'm also in that club recently. I learned how to drive a four-wheeler. So I took classes from a driving school. Now why I'm taking this example is see what happens in driving school as well is they'll give you the proper less. I mean they'll give you the theory classes and they'll give you practicals and all, and you'll be good to go. I mean once the 1 month course is complete, you'll be good to go and you can start driving. But there are certain things which you will be knowing only when I mean practice it regularly, like taking the reverse. I mean taking the car in the reverse gear or minding the gaps when you're walking I mean when you're driving in traffic. So similarly in this I mean course or in this session, I'm not in session, but in this course also we are going to do the same. My job will be as an instructor to take you, I mean I mean hold your hand and take you to the door. I'll give you all the necessary things which you need, and then it's some I mean you'll also have to put some effort. I don't want to bluff you, or I don't want to like make fake promises here that after the end of this course you'll be like one of the best power apps developer in the world. No, I'm not going to say all those things. It's very obvious that I'll putting a lot of effort, but there will be some effort required from your end as well when it comes to practicing. Okay, I'll be giving you all the resources at my disposal so that you can use those. But at the end of the day, when the session is complete or when the class is complete, it will be expected from you to go back and take the notes, or open your laptop or whatever you have and start practicing at least 1 hour a day. If you give me like 30 hours, this I mean we have a planned course of 30 hours. So if you give me that, that would be helpful for you. The reason I'm saying that is just attending the classes, I mean it's fine, but if you keep practicing it, you'll be memorizing the formulas and everything, and you'll be good to go in the later part of your in the later stages when you're developing a real-time app. So effort is required from both the end, from my end as well as your end. So that is one point I want to mention here. Now coming up next, like as part of what are the things we'll be covering as part of this course. So as part of this course, we'll be covering all the topics of Power Apps theory as well as the implementation, and we'll be also doing a live project. I'll be showing you that the stories of that project and what are the things we'll be implementing. Apart from that, we'll be also offering you a certification support. Okay, Balaji, I believe do you have some question? I see you have raised your hand. Balaji, you there? Okay, all right, I got you. That's fine. Um, okay, so what I was saying is we'll be offering you certification support. Before I get into details of that, I would just like to know you guys a bit better. So, how many of you are currently working? I mean, in IT? Can you please raise your hand? Okay, Shanmukh, Prashant. What about the rest of the guys?
I'm not working yet. I'm but looking for a job. Actively looking for a job.
Okay, that was Madhav. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Before I, that's what this is. This is required. Before I proceed, I want to know the I mean the expectation and the I mean the experience you everyone is having. So I see Prashant, Shruti. Okay, this is fine. How many of you are not working currently or like looking for a job? That I would like to know so that I can talk in that sense. Okay, okay. So it's a mixed crowd. That's fine. Okay. So I'll be covering from both perspective, both aspect. That is fine. I'll try to cover from both aspect. Okay. So even so, if the okay, just quickly put. I mean, those who are currently working, please put yourself on mute and just tell me what are the technologies you are working. Those who are currently working in IT, what are the current technologies you are working?
Hi Kumar, this is Likita. So I
Hi,
am working
Likita.
on Power Platform.
Okay,
So
you are working currently on Power
I'm
Platform only.
developing. Yes, yes.
Okay,
So
and like which
in
part of
Power
Power Platform
Platform,
you work?
I worked on all three parts like Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. But
Okay,
I'm like more into Power Apps and Power Automate, but Power BI I just know the basics. So just
okay,
want to know what else we have to learn in Power Platform.
okay. Sure, get
Like, is it
good to get.
Azure related stuff or yeah?
Okay, okay. Likita, save your questions and be ready to shoot your questions. I believe you already having experience on Power Platform, so that's a good thing. You'll be able to relate more, and you can come up with your questions and what are your expectations from this session. This is fine. What about rest of the other people?
Hi Kumar, this is Prashant. Right now I am working on a Dynamic 365 CRM and also which is related to working on also Power Automate. But when it comes to Power Apps and Canvas apps, I have worked only little bit, not have much knowledge on it.
Okay, but good to hear that because you know that I mean there's a quite a good relation between this I mean Dynamic 365 and the Power Platform. I mean Power Apps. So yeah, that's good. You'll be able to relate more and you'll be able to understand things in a much better way. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else? I saw quite a few hands.
Hi Kumar, Shruti this side. Actually, I'm working on the Power Platform, means Power App, Power Automate, SharePoint Online. But this is the basic only I'm just currently working on. So I just want to learn the advanced part of this.
Okay, Shruti. How many apps have you developed till now? Or I mean, have you developed any app till now?
Only no. Only I have done POC 2 3. That's it.
Okay, okay, that is fine. This is fine. Okay, I got an idea here. Okay, so both from the from who those who are currently working and those who are currently looking. I mean, they are planning to switch their jobs or looking for. I mean, looking for a job or looking for a change. This applies to both the groups, I would say. I mean, if we are calling them group. So certification support, coming to the certification support. Now, why this certification support we are providing and what is the use of that? So even if you are currently working in a Power Platform, having a certification in your resume will, that's a good thing. I mean, if you're planning to switch in, I mean, tomorrow, I mean, switch your companies, change your companies tomorrow. To your experience level, definitely this certification is needed. Okay, that will definitely give you a value add in your resume, and that would help. So you have to start, I mean, doing certifications from now on. If you have done it well and good, you are on the right path. But if you have not done it, we are providing the basic certification for the Power Platform, that is PL 900, what we call it, Power Platform Fundamentals. This certification support which you are providing is, it will be like the questions we have covered is like, I mean, mostly the questions which are asked in exam. So there is an assurance from my end that if you go through that set of questions, you'll be able to I mean, pass that exam. Because I mean, we have, I mean, manually crafted it. I mean, when I say manually, it's like, I mean, we have written it manually and taken the questions from the different exams which has been given by different people. So those are real time questions. Let me pull that one, and then that will give you a good idea. So it's a set of basically 200, more than 200 questions, where you'll be, I mean, you might, to be honest, you know the dumps. There are certain dumps which we have for every certification exam. So it's more or less like that. These are question dumps which we'll be providing you. So once you have some basic knowledge of Power Apps, and then you'll be able to relate more. Definitely, there is some. I mean, the certification is will not be having questions just from Power Apps. It's having questions from some other components of Power Platform as well. That is Power Automate, Power BI, Power Virtual Agent. But we will be covering Power Apps and certain aspects of Power Automate is in this course. Power Virtual Agent, you don't need to go, I mean, very deeply into that, and Power BI also some basics is needed. But let me share my screen. That will give you a good idea. And before moving to that, so this is for people who are already having some knowledge on Power Platform. But about people, those who are looking for a job, or those who are looking to switch their technologies, again, the same reason, the same concept and the same reasons apply to you as well. I mean, a certification goes a long way to give you extra edge over other, other candidates. So it's good to have a certification. And like I said, there's a sure, I mean, assurance from my end that these questions will be helping you in passing the exam. So let me show you the format of the exam. I mean, questions. How does it look? Okay, is my screen visible? Anyone can say yes.
Yes, yes, Kumar.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, some effort from my end, some effort from your end. I cannot like sit with you in exam, right? This exam, I mean, this certification exam, you need to schedule it. The price for this will be 3,000, I believe 3,600. You don't have to pay me. I mean, you can, I mean, nobody needs to pay me. This is something, I mean, this is, I'm telling you, those who are not having, not, I mean, information about this. So you need to go to the Microsoft site and schedule this exam based on your availability. So whenever you are ready, you can just go and schedule the exam, and then you need to, either you can take it from your, from your personal laptop, or you can visit a nearby center. There the exam will be happening, and this is the format the questions will be there. So the questions are very basic. You might not be able to relate it now, but at the end of the course, you'll be able to understand in a better way. So these are the
Hello.
questions I'm talking. Yes, go on.
Sir, actually, I had a doubt regarding the certification. You said
Okay.
only for PL9. You said only PL 900 or other certifications for the associate like PL 100, 400,
No,
300,
no,
like
no. So as part of this course, we are only offering PL 900. PL 400 is it's extensive. It's quite extensive. So that I mean that we are currently not providing. But as a starter, basically to have something in your resume, we are providing this PL 900.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, see if you see these are the kind of questions we'll be having. It will be single select, it will be multi select. I mean, you can have more than one options as correct answer. You'll be having drag and drop questions. So let me get you, this is the one I'm talking about. So you'll be having this kind of drag and drop questions here. Another thing is there's no negative marking in this exam, so feel free to attempt all the questions. But questions are quite I mean out 70% questions are very basic. When I say basic, like very basic. And then the rest 30%, there are some scenario based questions which you'll be able to tackle. So this is how the question looks in real time as well. So any doubts till now? Any questions? Okay, all right, moving on then.
Kumar, one thing,
Yeah, go on.
so I cleared PL 900 last year. So
Okay,
I wanted to give PL 100 this year. So actually, you know what? If we plan to give any certification, to be frank, like all of us, what we do is we prepare the dumps from some sites like exam topics and all. Okay,
correct.
but I feel that that's not the correct way to get a certificate, right? Because we need to exactly understand the concepts. So, do
Right.
we have any material or course video or kind of things to
Yes.
be prepared with?
So yeah, let me come to that. See, uh, I mean, it's Likita, right?
Yes, yes, Kumar. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk like from one power platform developer to another like let's talk in that manner here. See, dumps. I'm sure you might have seen. I mean, I believe you might have seen the PL 100 questions till now. I mean, if you have not, just go and have a look. You'll get some sample questions for that. See, dumps. Having dumps is not a guarantee here that you'll be passing the exam. Uh, like you said, even if you have question, you should know, right, what is the correct answer for that. Because sometimes even dumps will be having some, even the same question in dumps will be having two different answers. Okay, dumps is basically for is a holding hand, right? Just to make sure that if you're spending 5,000 rupees or 4,000 rupees, just an assurance that your money is not going wasted. But just having dumps will not give you a guarantee that you are going to pass an exam. So definitely some effort is required from your end or my end or anyone's in who's giving the exam. I mean, they need to go through the topics thoroughly before they go to the exam. And then dumps is just like it's like a mock test or practicing something kind of thing. Agree on that, right, Nikita?
Yeah, agreed. Agreed,
Yeah.
Kumar.
So dumps is, see, everyone, dumps is like not just for this exam. It's been followed for all the exams in all the certification exam across like the industry. The only reason people opt for dumps is like you are spending a good amount of money. It's you are spending 4,000 rupees minimum at one go. So you just want to make sure that after once you are done with your studying and after you have done with your your preparation, you just want to make sure that you are on the right path and you're like some of the questions. No dumps will be giving you 100% of the questions, mark my words. But it will definitely give at least 60 to 70% if the dumps are, if these are correct dumps. So it will give you 60 to 70% of the questions, and then rest 30% you have to manage on your own. So it's just a way to make sure that your money is not being wasted. Okay, because if you have like I mean prepared it, and I mean if some by some reasons you miss by one question or two question, you'll have to attempt the exam again. Unless you are I mean your company is providing you free voice vouchers, that is a different thing. But if you are paying on your own, that 4,000 amount will be gone, and again you have to reattempt the exam. And there's a free cooling off time for that exam as well. Like first time, if you fail the exam, you have to wait for 1 day, then for 1 week, then 15 days, like that. So to avoid all the hassles, and just to make sure that okay, you pass it in the first attempt, we go for the dumps. That's it. It's completely your call if you want to take that or not, take that approach or not. But that is the reason we provide this practice questions and dumps, so that it's that gives you a guarantee. That gives you an assurance that okay, if you're spending 4,000 rupees, that would be like after you have done with your studying and everything, you should pass the exam, otherwise your monies will be wasted. Coming to that PL100, no, we are not providing PL100 as part of this. The only certification we are providing is PL900. But if needed, we can discuss on that, and we can arrange some support on the PL100 as well. So I'll be showing you the course curriculum. Another thing is, Likita, and anyone who is, I think one more person asked about PL100. So like I said, PL100, even PL900 is quite extensive. Why we are providing PL900 is the basics are being asked from all the components of Power Platform. Those who are not able to relate this one, so we have multiple components in Power Platform. Open my, let me show you. So we have multiple components in Power Platform. Okay, this is the one we are covering, Power Apps for application development. But apart from that, we have Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, Power BI, and some other sub components. These are not major components, but these are part of that. Are this AI Builder, Dataverse, Dynamic 365. So questions will be asked from all these topics. And since in every session, or in every batch, there's a mix of both the crowds. Like there are people who are already working on it, and there are people who don't know anything about it. So we don't want to immediately bombard them with PL100, which is one level up of this exam. So the questions will be asked from all these topics, and so you need to have a good knowledge, thorough knowledge of all the topics in that. Just having Power Apps will not help. But PL900 case, the questions are very basic, so the dumps will help. That is the reason we are not going for PL100, just to have a balance between both the crowds. Okay, have anyone raised a hand? I can't see that, so please unmute if you have any questions. Okay, so this is regarding the certification. Moving on to the next thing is interview questions. So we'll be also helping you with the interviews, and provide some interview questions of different companies. These are real-time questions. So if you have already given interview by now, you have a good idea. If you have not given interview, so you will be definitely looking for questions. What are the kind of questions they ask, and what are the kind of code they will ask you to write. So you can go on Google and you can type Power Apps interview question, or top 50 Power Apps interview questions. That is fine, but that is a bit different from what is being asked in interviews. So we have a set of questions from different interview rounds. We have accumulated all those questions, and these are real time questions from different companies, like Wipro, Infosys, PwC, IBM, and all. So we'll be helping you with that interview questions as well, and we'll be covering the gaps which you have, that will help you in converting your interviews. So interview support is as part of that, it is just not Power Apps. We'll be helping you with all the components of Power Platform. um, but again, that's, I mean, that depends on individual to individual. If what is the kind, if they are interested in that, or they are just looking to have, I mean, upgrade their skills. So that depends on individual to individual, but we will be providing you interview questions from different companies. So that's one thing. Apart from that, the last thing will be, I mean, will be helping you out, will be that this is a 30-hour planned course which we have. So that will be around 1 month. But apart from that, once the course is complete, we will be there for the next 1 month as well. So you can reach out to us or through, I mean, Vsoft, or I mean, we'll be sharing details on how to reach out to us. So what happens generally is that the core during the course, I mean, when the course is going on, any course, not just this course, any course is going on, sometimes it gets difficult for some of the people, not everyone I would say, but some of them find it hard to catch up with the ongoing topics or ongoing classes. They might miss some classes, or they are not able to understand it, and everyone is having different understanding capabilities. That is one thing. So they might take some time to absorb and understand things in a better way, and by the time they're understanding it, the I mean, the given duration or the given course gets completed. So this is, I'm talking of from this personal experience. When I used to go for any kind of course, this used to happen. So just to avoid that, once the classes, that means the theory classes and everything, the I mean, our regular session is completed, you can feel free to reach out to us. We'll be providing 1 month of support. Basically, these are doubt clearing sessions, so you can schedule a call with me, I mean, based on your availability and based on my availability, and then we'll connect and we can solve all your doubts. It can be things like you're stuck, I mean, you're stuck with some, I mean, you're stuck with something in your ongoing project, or you're stuck when you're practicing something and you don't know how to implement that one. So we'll be there for the next 1 month. That is complete. It's a combined 2 months. We'll be there. So doubt clearing session will not be that. I mean, it will be not a regular session. You'll have to schedule it. I mean, when I say regular session, that means, I mean, the classes are on will be on the scheduled time, right? But this doubt clearing session, you'll have to schedule in a day advance or something, and then you can reach out and we can sit and we can, I mean, we can have that. I mean, we can try. I mean, we'll try to resolve all your doubts. So this will be like a handholding for the next 1 month. So those who are, I mean, learning this for the first time, I would say please take advantage of this, because that would, since, I mean, course will be important, but this will be as important as the course, because once you go back to your home and then once you start developing the app, that means, I mean, once you start practicing on your own, then the questions and the doubts will be coming. So in that time you'll be needing some kind of help. So just go and practice, and then get all your questions and shoot your questions to me. So take advantage of that. If you go ahead with this taking of this course, take advantage of the one, I mean, that doubt clearing sessions will be, which will be supporting for the next 1 month. So this is it. And yeah, I'll show you the course, what are the things we are covering. So like, see, the best approach I believe to learn anything is to learn the what and how, instead of going through theories. The best thing is to like cover how a particular thing is done, like implementing scenarios and all. Another thing is, see, the code remains the same everywhere. Okay, if I tell you how to do this, how to suppose basic example, let's take it. If I tell you how to submit a request, you'll be doing CRUD operations. CRUD operations means create, read, update, delete. That is the basic for any technology. If you do any kind of coding, so that is the first thing which happens. Then comes the business logics, and then comes the validation and all. But the one common thing which is there in all the projects or all the technologies, it can be Java, it can be .NET, is the CRUD operations, where you'll be submitting some kind of request, then you'll be viewing those requests, or I mean records basically, then you will be deleting those records or editing those records. So that is one thing which will be common everywhere. Just a second. So if I ask you that, or one, or like suppose we have learned today that how to submit a request. Now this is going to be common in all the projects. You do hundreds of projects or you do whatever the number of projects, the formula is going to be the same. You're just going to change the field values, or I mean depending on the data types what you have. So you're just going to change the, I mean, the field names, and depending on the field values what you have, sorry, the data types, but the formula remains the same. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's all about the formulas. Once you have that formula, all you have to do is you have to use that formula depending on your usage or depending on the requirement. It's not that you'll be having separate formula, the submit or the, I mean, there's something called patch function. Let's take an example. Let's talk in a bit more technical here. So there is something called patch function which is used to submit a request. Okay, so this patch function will remain the same. It's not that in your in a separate project, in your second project you'll be using something else. It's just that based on the field type you'll be modifying it or tweaking it a bit. So I mean, I'll be giving you the code and everything, the course material. Basically you'll be having a PPT at the end of the every session, so you'll have the notes to refer. Let me share my screen and show you the project as well. So what is the project we are going to cover, and what is the course curriculum we have. Just a second. Give me a minute. I'm just logging to one of my sample, I mean one of the apps. I'll show you. Okay, I'm good to go. Just sharing my screen now. Okay, so these are the things we'll be covering as part of the course. This is the course curriculum here. The first thing we'll be needing is a test environment for you, or I mean, on Microsoft account. Basically, what we call is so that you can practice it. If you are not able to get that, then we'll be requesting you to start a free trial of the Power Apps so that you can practice in that in that setup. And then these are the topics we'll be covering. The first thing is we'll be covering gallery. The order might change here, up or down, but most, I mean, these are the topics which are going to cover. So we are covering gallery, we are covering searching, sorting. Then performance improvement is another aspect we have to cover. Then next comes the components. Then comes the container. Data table will be covered when we are covering gallery as well, just to have a comparison, and I mean just to understand what's the difference, because they both looks more or less same only. They have some pros and cons in that. Then comes this environment variables. This is another thing we'll be covering here. Then comes the most important topic, that is collection and variable. So this collection will be helping you a lot during your development phase, and it's very important. Then comes the error handling part. Another thing is, if you have seen by now, so it's more like questions. These are the kind of questions you'll be having in your interviews as well. If you have someone has given interview by now, they can relate it to it. I mean, they can relate it. So these are the kind of questions you'll be getting in your interviews as well. I can, being an interview, this I can ask you like, what is the difference between data table and a gallery, or when should you use data table, and when should you use gallery. So in the exact same manner, we have written the topics, and we are covering it in a exact same way. The notes, basically what we call, whatever the notes or the PPT at the end of the session, you'll be having those. So you don't need to make notes here in your, I mean in your notebooks on all. You can keep your entire focus on the in the session. We'll be providing you all the smaller details in a notes format or in a PPT format. So nothing to worry on that part. Moving on, we'll be covering some controls as well. I don't want to like show you drag and drop that this is a text box control and this is a drop down. Everyone is, I mean everyone is skilled enough here to know that what is a text. You can see and you can know by yourself that okay, this is a text box, or this is a drop down, or this is a label, whatever. But we'll be just quickly covering those, and then we'll be covering things which you have not seen, or we are not acquainted with. That is, one is timer control and another is slider control. Rest of the controls will be showing you, but there will be not much detail into that, because like I said, I mean don't want to waste your time on that one, that this is called a text box, and in text box you'll be manually entering the data. That everyone knows. Even if you have not worked on any technology, you can see and you can understand what is a text box. Then comes another very important topic, this functions. Basically, this is the entire heart and core of the Power Apps. So you will be dealing with functions and collections that will, I mean, that will constitute almost 80% of your app, and then the rest 20% is the designing and the rest of the part. But it's all about the formulas. So you have to write formulas in everywhere. Next comes the versioning and the solution part. So versioning means you'll be having different versions for your solution. You can create different versions. And solutions, when I say solutions, everything, I mean when you're designing an app, it will be part of a solution, and you'll be having some requirements basically to basically migrate your application or your app from one place to another, or from one environment to another. So you'll be covering all those things. Then comes the environment part. So I'll be showing you just, I mean after this, what I'm talking about, if it's not making any sense here. Another thing is this security perspective. So we have to cover that security and login security perspective as well, how to make your app more secure and restrict the access to multiple users. So the role-based authentication will be developing and all. Model driven app, the next part is what we'll be covering. So one more point here is that, see, in most of the organizations, I mean, in most of the organization, the majorly the work is being currently done in Canvas apps. That's why these many topics are we have covered in Canvas apps. Model-driven app, when it comes to this, I'll be showing you if this as well just now after this one. See, model-driven app is like a ready-to-use app. It's very quick to assemble. Like if I ask you, basically, let me explain in that manner. If I ask you, just like I just spoke about the CRUD operations. So if I ask you to create a, just get me an application ready, that will be doing a just one basic CRUD operation. So to do the same thing in Canvas app, it might take you some hours, but to do the same thing in model driven app, it will take you minutes. It's that I mean, easy to use, but it's having its own disadvantages as well. That is the reason generally organizations doesn't take model driven app in the first approach, and most of them go with the canvas app approach here, but we'll be covering model driven app as well. So this is the one, and then there's some pending, I mean there's some topics which we'll be covering separately, like you need to know how to call Power Automate flows from your app, or I mean security roles we'll be talking about in the admin center. Yes, another thing we'll be covering is the licenses part and the admin center part. So those who are already having I mean some knowledge or some expertise on the Power Platform, this is helpful for them, because licensing is something which is, I mean, sometimes difficult to understand for some of the people. And admin center also, I don't know about I mean you guys, but it's mostly restricted. The admin center access is mostly restricted from the I mean, developer perspective. There is a separate role for that called Power Platform admin, who will be having access to that. And anytime you have to make any changes, I mean you need to get any changes done from the admin center, you need to raise a request or you need to connect to the admin to get that done. So I'll be showing you the admin center as well, and what are the things we are able to do from there. And the another thing is the license part. So what kind of license you want as a developer, and what kind of license the user should have, the application user who will be having the application URL, what do they need to have to use this uh, the application, the kind of licenses. The certification, interview preparation, and resume we have already covered. So with that, we'll be helping you out if you need any help on that. If not, then that's good from your end. And the final thing, the last 3 or 4 days, we'll be doing a live project. When I say live project, that means I mean, we'll be doing the changes in the session itself, instead of giving you the user stories and asking you to go back and implement on your own. No, we'll not be taking that approach. We'll try to complete it within the session itself. Let me show you the user stories what we have, basically what are the things we are going to implement. So this is the project I'm talking about. You'll be having these components as part of your projects. You'll be having login screens, dashboards, user management, idea management, view idea, and some custom logics as well in that one. So the entire thing will try to get, I mean, complete it in 3 to 4 days. That we'll be covering some of the things in the session, and then we'll be having some things to complete on your own when you go back. And if you're not able to implement it, we'll be discussing it the next day. So it will be having some custom logics as well, like you'll be asked to create the date format. So currently, just one quick example. So you have our time currently is 9:25 a.m. IST. I might ask you to change that time to EST format or some particular time zone format in your application. So these are the kind of, I mean, requirements you might have. Or take example that suppose there's a like button in Facebook, right? Let's talk in a more generic way. You have a like button in Facebook. So I will ask that, I mean, there might be a requirement in the app that I want to get the count of number of likes which has happened on a particular, I mean, on a particular post, or a particular idea. So these are the kind of logics we'll be implementing. Suppose there is an idea which I don't want to share with everyone. I just want to share with Shanmugh, Likita, and or just a couple of users, not with everyone. So how do we achieve that? So these are the things we'll be, I mean, implementing as part of the project, and these are basically real-time scenarios, and these are the things which are common basically in most of the projects which you'll be developing. So like login thing, you need to have a login screen for your project, any project or any application you're developing in your respective organizations, or if you're doing it for the first time, there is going to be a login button mostly. Now if you have some different approach, that's a different thing, but this is the standard approach generally we take for any application. So we'll be talking about how it's authenticating and how to implement that login part as well. So let me stop a bit here and I mean Shoot your questions. You have anything?
Kumar, just one quick query. So, what
Hmm.
kind of database we'll be using throughout?
Yes. That. Thank you. That's a good question. So we'll be using SharePoint in this case. But
Okay.
Likita, if you have any other data source, if you want, I mean, other means the only other thing you might want to use here right now is Dataverse, because I'm not, I mean, SQL and all license issues are there. So,
Yeah, right, right. Actually,
so
we are also using SharePoint. So, if it
yes,
is Dataverse, can I know
no,
like whether
we,
Dataverse is a
we,
Mhm.
yeah, go on.
So if we use Dataverse as a backend, then do we need any license for that? Because I heard that it is a premium connector uh, to connect the Power Apps and Power Automate. So
Yes. So two things here. First thing, quickly, yes, we'll be covering all those things as part of license, but that has nothing to do with. I'm answering your query. I'm just letting you know. The second thing is we'll be using SharePoint, guys. The reason for that, there are two reasons for that. First thing is SharePoint, and don't get scared if you don't have any knowledge on that. It's very basic. I mean, we don't need to have any expertise on SharePoint. It's just the UI basically is very intuitive, so you can understand how to create a list and how to create a table and all. Uh, that is one reason we are using SharePoint, because it's easy to understand as compared to Dataverse. Sometimes for some people, Dataverse might look a bit too much at a go. So that is one thing. Another thing is SharePoint is having its own advantage, like it's having its own document repository system, just like you have OneDrive, and also it's having its own document repository system. And from the access perspective also, licenses a separate license is not needed for SharePoint. So if you have heard of Outlook and all, I'll talk in terms of that. You might have seen by now that I have a Teams installed in my laptop. So generally that is a way, we use Teams. If you're an Office 365 user, basically an Office user, you'll be having Teams, you'll be having access to Outlook and everything. So to use Power App, to create an app using Power Apps and SharePoint as a combination, you don't need to have a separate license basically. I mean, definitely a license is needed, but you don't need to. That comes basically for most of the users as part of their organization account. We call it as Office 365 E5 license. Okay, let me try to make it more generic and in put it in a simple way. That basically when you join an organization, and if you're not having, if you're not using Zoom and all, if you're just using this Office 365 account, you'll be getting all this as part of package. Basically you'll be having access to all these things. It's just that the admin just needs to go and select some check boxes for you in the admin center, and you'll be good to go. You don't need to have you don't need to break your head to procure licenses for that. Okay, so it comes as part of your organization. E5 license, with what we call is Office 365 E5 license, you'll be having access to everything. Like Likita mentioned, it's not a this is a what we call is a standard connector. That is a, you can take it as a free connector basically. When it comes to Dataverse, Likita, now I'll come to your question. This was just for explaining the context. When it comes to Dataverse, yes, it is a definitely a premium connector, but for our if we want to use it, we can use it, because Dataverse is part of the, see, like this is for everyone. So see, Dataverse is the backend for the entire Power Platform. Okay, Power Platform is having its own personal database. Yeah, if I put it in that way, that is called Dataverse. Previously, now, it's also called this common data service. So it's having its own database. So if we want to go with the Dataverse approach, we can do it, because anyways we'll be using free trial licenses or the test account, so it won't stop us from creating any tables and all. Anyways, we are not going to deploy it to some production environment or anything, so we'll be good to go, and we don't need separate licenses at this point. But if in future you have to take this Dataverse as a as a backend, you will be needing certain licenses. for that. So Likita, does that answer your query? Just to summarize it, yes, it's a premium connector and we are not going to use it uh, for the reasons I have mentioned. We are using SharePoint. So we'll be using SharePoint as a backend data source. Okay. See, like I said, it's my job to maintain a balance between both the crowds. So if I, being a Power Platform developer, you have to really understand and I mean cooperate here with me that if I immediately jump to Dataverse in the first instance, people will be having, I mean, they might start getting scared of the entire setup. So that is another reason we are not taking Dataverse. We are taking SharePoint. Okay, before you move on to the next question, just let me quickly show you a sample app. It's a sample app, so let me show you that. Um, just a second. So this is the sample app I was talking about. This is for one of the users. Uh, so this is the getting the logged in username. Now let me click on login here. So it's having two components. Just a quick demo. Suppose you are a, I'll treat you guys as a business user. And let me give you a quick demo on what this application is doing here. So this is the kind of application you will be developing. The design might vary, but since this is a demo app, the design is very basic here. The first thing is if you click on login, it should authenticate your credentials and redirect to respective screens. So this is what is happening here. This is a home button here. This is a logout button here. And this was the CRUD operation I was talking about. Say if I go ahead and delete it, this is just asking making sure that we do not delete it accidentally. So it's just asking for a confirmation here. And you're getting a notification message, something like here, that the record has been deleted successfully. Let me edit this record. So this is the basic CRUD operation. This is the CRUD operation which you also will be doing it. And for any application, this will be the 50%, like I said, for your project. This CRUD operation will be constituting 50% of any project which you are going to, or any application which you are going to develop. And then comes later the, like I said, the business logic. Like, let me show you one business logic here. If I click on submit, you're getting a message at the top that email already exists. That means it's not allowing duplicate users to be entered in the same list. So I will have to select some other user, otherwise it won't allow me to submit it. So let me remove that. I don't remember whether this user is there or not. So let's check that. Yeah, it's already there. What should I pick? Okay, let me delete one and then let me add it back. I'll delete this. I'll delete Rosie here and then put her back. So if you see here, I was able to add her back, and previously the duplicate, since there's a validation in place that duplicate users are not allowed, it was not allowing us to update the records. Then if I go to the manage projects, again we are doing the same CRUD operations with different fields and different data types. Here is the search part. So if I search with height, getting me the client name, or if I search with project, so all the respective projects are coming up. So this is the searching part going on here. So this is one of the sample apps which I wanted to show you, and you'll be developing something like that when we are developing a project. And yeah, one last thing which I missed is the Power Automate part. So see, since this will be a Power App session, but we'll be covering some of the topics of Power Automate as well. Not extensively, that would be a different session and different course altogether. But why we are covering Power Automate is like any application you build, you will be having certain aspects of Power Automate in your project. Like the basic thing is like when you're submitting a request, you need to send out notification emails that okay to some specific person that okay, this request has been submitted, or I mean this request was raised, something like that. Or another thing, another very common thing which is being used is the approval process. So that when you submit a request, you might request approval from certain stakeholders, or you might ask them to approve your request. So these two things we'll be covering here, and the basics like what are the kind of flows and all, so that you have some some hands-on and some experience on Power Automate. And then if you want to take it from there, that's a different thing. There are some certain advanced concepts as well, but we won't be covering that since it's not a Power Automate session. But just to have like that, just to make sure that you are able to develop an app end to end, we have to get into some of the aspects of Power Automate as well. So we will be covering though, we'll be having a fixed set of hours and some certain sessions on that as well. So yeah, this is it. I think we have already, we have so it's already 9:40. So yeah, shoot your questions for next 5 minutes or shoot your doubts, and then we'll close this call. Shruti, Balaji, Madhav, any questions? Yeah, Likita, go on.
Not from my end, Kumar, not now. Once I'll
Okay,
start, then maybe I'll have.
okay. Anyone else? Any expectations which you have? Like you can go back and you can think and whatever, but any particular expectations or any particular thing which you're looking for and I have not covered it, and you want to just have a confirmation that let's be very honest. Just like Likita asked me, right? Are we covering PL 100 or not? So I told right that we are not covering PL 100 as part of that. There's no, I mean, harm in that. So for everyone, if any certain expectations you have, any cross questions, anything. I know it's Friday, it's the end of the week, so just be here for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then you can go to the respective. You can start your respective days. Balaji, Madhav, Bhavna, anything from your end? Okay.
What when will this session starts? The course starts, or and is it paid or something? Can you give me like give us
So
these
that
details?
those yeah. So for those details, you get in touch with Subbu, and he'll be. He'll get in touch with you guys. I'm not.
Like I'll
I'm
be
not.
contact him. Can you give his mail ID or something?
He's there in the call. He's there in the call. He's the organizer of this call. So he'll get in touch with you. No, I think he is having your mail ID, so he'll be getting in touch with you individually regarding the course content or whatever queries you have, or the paid and anything. So you all those things you can get in touch with him about that part. I don't want to get into those things, so he'll be handling that part. Subbu, if you're there, you can just raise your hand so that people know whom to contact. You see, are seeing the Vsoft trainings as well there, right? So you might have got a mail basically from someone as an invite.
Yes.
So it's that. If not, anyways, he'll be getting in touch with you individually. I mean, whether you want to pursue this course or not. So rest assured, he'll be contacting you and he'll be sharing the details about the timings and everything.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Kumar.
Okay, then if you don't have anything, then we'll close this call. Okay, Subbu will be in touch with you, and then we'll see when we can start this, and we'll take it from there. So thanks everyone. Thanks for your time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Kumar. Thanks for the session.
Thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
Subbu, for organizing. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, team.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.